Have you ever seen parents lifting their four fingers to their lips, telling their kids, use your inside voice? This inside voice to which they're referring, for which they're petitioning, I believe, is a calm, measured whisper, which takes into account other people. Not the free, unbridled, unself-conscious voice these same kids use on playgrounds and in schoolyards. But I have an idea about another sort of inside voice. An inside voice used by adults. A voice with which we address ourselves, our free, unbridled selves. What I eventually choose to announce to the world out loud is often far different than the inside voice that precedes the announcement. Do you ever talk to yourself? I'm not crazy. What do you say? Please bear with me while I talk to myself for a little while. Rolling around, unable to sleep, accompanied by the muted hum of automobiles, a train whistle, memory of some incident from yesterday, or in anticipation of tomorrow's chores, I talk to myself. My mind wanders. I'm about to doze off. But my cat, Tippy, has another idea. She jumps into bed, walks across my stomach, licks my hand, claws at my shoulder, and jumps down. I hear a muffled scamper, then the sound of Tippy slurping water. Maybe I replay a disturbing scene until everything falls perfectly into place. Not like real life, and I am the hero instead of the good. I'm the star instead of a powerless face in the crowd. Silently, I tell my boss, or another bully, exactly what I think. Verbal precision, a walk-off grand slam. It's as if I'm rehearsing for a play. It's as if I prepare for my life here by rehearsing in an alternate universe. It's a sketch for this painting. And the sketch is raw and spontaneous. And the painting is not. Do you ever sing to yourself? Yes, I sing to myself in the most beautiful, rich voice. Sometimes I sing bass, and I sound exactly like Martin Hargrove. But I can also sing the soprano parts of Madame Butterfly, a cappella. And Scott, everything I sing to myself is on key. Yes, I talk to myself, I sing to myself, and I hear myself. I'm not implying that this phenomenon only occurs while I'm in the semi-conscious state between activity and sleep. I'm saying that it happens to me all the time. It's a voice similar to the voice I hear when I read a book. I talk to myself in the shower, while I'm walking across a parking lot, and I hear my voice reading the words on the list. You know the list I mean. Things I did not do. Yet. Dear. I'm defending one of my actions, or inaction, before an imaginary judge who looks and sounds suspiciously like me. I'm rehearsing a speech while watching TV. Or I'm at Chico's, and my wife is trying on clothing. And I'm silently practicing lines I might try in order to minimize the number of purchases. You know, she asks how she looks, for instance, in a blue dress. I shrug my shoulders and say, "It looks okay." I'm imagining her responses, assessing the potential fallout. It can be downright distracting. I'll be talking to myself in class instead of listening to the lesson. During a movie, and I miss a crucial moment. Listening to myself instead of to you. Where, exactly where, is the source of this voice? Is the voice somehow tethered to my spine? Or is the voice a swarm of bees buzzing around my balding head? Is the voice a part of me? Or not? These are my actual thoughts, I think. But maybe a scientist could prove otherwise. So I avert my gaze, being careful not to make eye contact with any scientists. And I just say that this little voice, I hear it constantly, is somehow closer to my thoughts than what I eventually say out loud to you. Before I make a sound you can hear, I practice the words until I get them right. Searching my database of puns and punchlines until I believe that the words are funny enough, or until I'm convinced that you won't be offended. Why? I filter what I say. What I say to you is different than what I originally say to myself. Why don't I get it right the first time? Believe it or not, what you're now hearing is the result of practice. I cannot tell you how many times I've uttered these words in this order or rearranged. And this is what I've spliced together, a little highlight reel of what I deem to be acceptable, politically correct sentences designed to make a point and to get laughs. When no one is around, I even practice using my mouth to make sounds and words similar to the ones you're currently experiencing. The only part I don't practice is actually using a mic and these various props. It seems like an endless loop. I silently say what I think I ought to say. I say it out loud. Then I scold myself. Or silently say what I wish I'd said, defend what I said out loud, on and on. Sometimes I feel as though I'm the person in a cartoon where there's an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. The devil keeps saying, come on, go for it, say it, it's hilarious, the funniest thing ever. Hurry up, if you don't say it now, it won't work. You have to say it now. And the angel, often sounding like my wife, says, that's not funny and it's inappropriate. Do not speak. Under certain circumstances, I may heed her and silently practice my line, maybe even imagining the stricken, contorted face of a potentially offended audience member. I might decide to bite my tongue, thus allowing myself to be rescued from an abyss, a lonely hole one digs for himself when he or she hurts someone, embarrassing himself or those he claims to love, from which he or she may never return. You can't get the toothpaste back in the tube. My inside voice may be omnipresent. I'm unsure whether or not it's omniscient. Full disclosure, another aspect of this silent or whispering voice is that although it seems to reside deep within my core, It's not always my voice. I don't believe I've been infiltrated by aliens, terrorists, or an unidentified entity of any kind. I don't think I speak to myself in tongues. Do I? Time out. Am I being dishonest? Am I hiding something from you? I already told you these politically correct words you hear do not match the earlier politically incorrect words you will not hear. Have you ever been at a wedding and fantasized about responding when the official asks if anyone knows a reason these two should not get married? Yes! Yes! I scream, waving my hands, standing, I pull a long list of reasons these two should not get married from my breast pocket, and I start reading as the guests crane their necks, staring at me in awe, annoyance, or maybe even grateful appreciation. Because everyone knows these two should not get married, don't they? Meanwhile, I'm asking myself, how would it look? And what would they think of me? And I realize I'll keep my big mouth shut. The ceremony continues. At the reception, I smile and congratulate the happy, immature, drunken, slovenly, jobless couple. And I hand them an envelope. Because I don't know for sure that their marriage won't work. Yes, I do. And I don't care either way. Yes, I do. Who am I to judge? Have you ever been in a restaurant or on an airplane with screaming children and fantasized about approaching the parents, saying the things you've always wanted to say to the parents of every ill-behaved youngster with whom you have ever shared a red eye? Except you don't actually say it. Not to them. Don't want to hurt feelings. Want to avoid confrontation. What I say won't matter anyway. Lack the courage of your convictions. Afraid to yell fire in a crowded theater. Reluctant to impose on people's busy schedules with my lightweight commentary. Does this inside voice also act to filter bravery? Does it discourage the courage required to be honest and direct with friends? What do you really think? Have you ever been speaking with someone wishing you were somewhere else and heard your inner voice so loud that it drowns out what they're saying? All you hear is some part of your own voice screaming, "How can I escape?" Is one of the requirements of friendship that we give honest evaluation. Can you recall a situation in which you wish you had dared to say what you were thinking? We grow up and accumulate experience and make decisions not to confront. Having come to the understanding that we cannot learn someone's lessons for them, preferring to avoid battle and its attendant discomfort. Some of us might make tepid attempts at intervention or suggestion, disguising our true thoughts with humor or metaphor. Maybe we get angry enough or frustrated enough or convinced enough of our opinion, or maybe we have an ulterior motive. So we decide that we will say what's on our mind, that being blunt and direct is a preferable path, that right or wrong, life is more exciting when we stir the pot. Have you ever been with someone, say an older person, when they speak their mind, and you wish you could just hide? I can recall one day when we were with my mother walking along South Street in Philadelphia, and she inexplicably and repeatedly approached people to ask if she could help them. apparently she had determined that they looked lost and that she could set them on the right path. None of them accepted her offer, and I recall feeling so embarrassed I wanted to melt into the pavement. Maybe my mother was exercising her own angelic voice, just trying to help. Had she evolved to a point where the filter between her inner voice and what she said to people had evaporated? So, how do you know when speaking your mind is a worthy goal? When we observe people in the act of being less filtered, is it the result of their rational, conscious decision, the culmination of the acquisition of wisdom, or conversely, a loss of self-control? There is no angel on my shoulder, and there's no devil on my shoulder. At least, I'm usually unable to distinguish the angel from the devil. Decisions to remain silent or in some way twist my original inclinations do not always hinge on the protection of your feelings or the avoidance of unpleasantness. They sometimes reflect my own limitations, lack of self-assurance, a selfish agenda, or some other unresolved motive. There are different rules, a different threshold of filtration, depending on the audience, the history of a particular relationship, the venue. Is your speech as unfettered in church as it is at a sporting event? Certainly, there are people with whom our voice is less filtered. With friends, perhaps you practice your spiel only 3 times instead of 5. Maybe 1 practice session instead of 3. You feel more comfortable with people with whom you don't have to silently practice what you say. But how often is this sort of unholy alliance indicative of similar backgrounds or sensibilities, and how often does it support common prejudices? Are you more apt to question your personal values, censor what you say, when you interact with a diverse group of individuals? In any case, I believe I'd like my inside voice to more frequently and more closely match what I end up saying out loud. I would like to do less editing. I would like to have a greater trust of my first instinct. Maybe my inside voice resides in an inner sanctum. However, even here in this outside universe, there are places where I feel safer, less judged, less prone to judge. I search for such places, and I kind of know when I'm in one. Here, I may agree to take a chance and share my thoughts. I can be relatively comfortable standing here ranting or gesticulating, or in the parish hall, yapping and drinking coffee. Do you have a sanctuary? For you, to what extent is this a sanctuary? Do you want it to be? How can you make it that? To what extent do you feel welcome enough here to use your inside voice?